Welcome, believers. Welcome, conspiracy theorists. Welcome to the wonderfully weird world of the Tinfoil Hat Fan Club. Today, we are going to be talking about something sinister. Now, last week, we quickly touched on the Dulce, New Mexico alien base, apparently, where they experiment on humans there. Today, we are going to be talking about the alien hybrid program, okay, the abduction scenario. So, look, stay tuned, and I will tell you more about it. Okay, welcome back. Right, let's talk about the alien abduction scenario, or more importantly, the hybrid issue. Okay, now apparently this is where aliens take human DNA, splice it with their own DNA, and make a new upgraded human. That is the rumour, that's the story behind it, basically. Okay, and I'm going to tell you two scenarios because, let's face it, there are thousands out there. I will tell you these two, look into it yourself, and then see what you think. Okay, now this one is called the Geraldine Orozco case. Okay, the alleged alien abduction of Geraldine Orozco has become a prominent case in the world of UFOlogy, sparking debate and intrigue among both believers and skeptics. Okay, as a spiritual healer, Geraldine's experience gained widespread attention due to her detailed account and subsequent impact on her life and work, because this case, she hasn't hid behind it. She's been very true and she's been very honest. Okay, and she's even got her own website, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. Okay, so Geraldine Orozco's abduction allegedly took place on October the 15th, 2013 in San Francisco, California. According to her account, she was abducted by extraterrestrial beings and taken aboard a spacecraft. Throughout the night, she claims to have experienced a series of interactions with these beings, involving medical examinations, hybrid children, and telepathic communication. Now, Geraldine's experience did not end with this initial encounter, as she asserts that multiple abductions and communications with the beings have been going on since the first night. Now, the first night is 2013, but I think it went on before that. This is the first time she realised something was going on. Now, her first realisation that she might be involved in hybrid children was when she came down pregnant. And this is really where it goes a bit sinister, okay? She had a pregnancy test that was positive, but sadly had a miscarriage and the fetus was missing. Now, she had been pregnant for about 8 weeks, and even her doctor confirmed that she was showing signs of a miscarriage and that the fetus should have been visibly present. Okay, now, as I say, it is going down the rabbit hole, and it is quite a sinister plot. But let's cover it anyway, okay? So, was the fetus removed during an abduction, or was she imagining it? Okay, well, look, you decide. I will continue with the story. So, as I say, on October the 15th, 2013, Geraldine was asleep in her room, fast asleep, in her bed, like we all do every night. And at about 3:30 in the morning, she was awoken by a bright light in her room. Now, she looked outside her window, and the light was so bright it hurt her eyes. Somehow, her body went numb, and she was taken through the window to a huge craft outside. Geraldine describes her abductors as tall, humanoid, with elongated heads, large black eyes, and a slender body. That sounds to me and you like a typical grey. They're also known as Zeta Reticulums, okay? Now, these beings communicated with her using telepathy, sharing information about the universe and the purpose of human life. They revealed that they are part of a collective and work together to monitor and guide the evolution of humanity. So they're working as a collective. Sounds pretty much like a federation, doesn't it? Now, during her abduction, Geraldine claimed to have encounters with several hybrid children, okay, who she believed were created using her DNA and that of the aliens. She described these children as having a mix of human and alien features and possessing advanced psychic abilities. Now, according to Geraldine, the purpose of these hybrid children is to bridge the gap between human and extraterrestrial consciousness, paving the way for eventual integration of both species. That's what they told her, apparently. So, what do you think? We are going down a rabbit hole, aren't we? Now, then after her encounter, she wakes back in bed with 3 hours missing. That is a common thing as well, isn't it? Whenever you're abducted by aliens, there seems to be missing time where they wipe your memory. So it's now, finally, she starts realising what's been happening to her. She is an abduction victim. Not only that, she has had her children taken away from an early age of pregnancy, and this has been happening for years. So every time she got pregnant, it looks like she was abducted. The aliens took her fetus, did the splicey thing, and she always thought she couldn't get pregnant because every time she did, she seemed like she was losing it. Now, this woman, Geraldine, as I say, she hasn't mucked about. She's been very factual, and she's even looked into it herself. Now, she has had numerous doctors checking her over, numerous. She's had numerous scans, and they all seem to support her claims. She's had lie detectors that she has passed, and she's also had psych tests that she has passed. Now, out of pure frustration, like I said to you, she has started her own website, and it's called Hybrid Mothers. And it acts as like a support group. There's hundreds of abduction victims that they can talk to people, share their experience, and I will put it behind me, okay? So, that is the Geraldine story. Now, I'm going to tell you one more, because otherwise it would go on for ages, wouldn't we? So there is one more story, okay? But before I go to that, I want to ask, are aliens really trying to make new forms of life? Are they trying to do human-alien hybrids? What do you think? Please drop me a line on the comments. Okay, right, the next one. The alien abduction encounters of Terry Matthews are without a doubt some of the most unsettling, disturbing and intriguing accounts on record, not least as they appear to suggest a goal and an agenda to not only her own abduction, but to many other abductions encountered from around the world. This alien-human hybridization program that has seemingly started to unfold and has been going on for decades. Now, like many people who eventually discover these apparent extraterrestrial creatures have abducted them, Terry only became aware of the encounters decades later. Although she suspected for some time that something untoward was happening to her, furthermore, she would soon discover that other members of her family had also been abducted on multiple occasions. Whatever was behind these disturbing encounters, it was a lot more organised and determined than just chance. She wasn't just picked out of the blue, she had something they wanted. One of the first strange incidents unfolded almost 3 decades before hypnotic regression revealed the abductions to her. Okay, an event she didn't connect to the later encounters at the time or after, but that would appear to have been a key moment in her life. Basically, this one abduction is what kicked everything off, okay? And then she kept getting abducted afterwards. Now, it was late one afternoon in 1970 in America that 22-year-old Terry Matthews was driving home when the events that would change her life unfolded around her, okay? She recalled decades later that the sun was going down to the right when she was driving down the road, okay? The sun was going down to the right, which made everything red and green, adding that all the colours were extremely vibrant. Now, then things changed seemingly in an instant. So the reason she is saying that it was a beautiful sunset, because the next thing Terry recalled is it was dark and she was in the middle of a terrible rainstorm. In fact, it was now so dark and the rain was so strong that Terry could no longer see what was in front of the car. At the time, she could feel something pulling the car to the side of the road, forcing her to grip the steering wheel. Then, much like before, things changed again, A sudden flash appeared, and then all of a sudden the rain appeared to be coming to a stop. Although she was confused, she was otherwise unhurt, and so after gathering her thoughts, she set off home once more. And I can see why you would do that, because your brain has a way of trying to make sense of stuff. So you've had a freaky situation, you've come to, but you're unhurt, so you think, well, I just better make my way home. She didn't think to look at the time, however. By the time she arrived home, she realised something truly strange had taken place. Her husband, clearly worried, informed her it was almost 10 p.m, meaning she was well over 2 hours late. What's more, she had no recollection of those 2 hours. Now, beyond perplexed, Terry was uncertain of just what did take place on that journey home. This, though, was first of many unsettling encounters that Terry would experience. Now, over the next months and years, Terry would keep a journey of any recollection she had of strange events. These recollections and encounters ranged from intense nightmares, so intense she almost believed them to be real, further episodes of missing time, so it's apparent that she has been abducted a few times, and even the appearance of markings, bruises and scars on her body that she had no explanation about. She also witnessed several UFOs during this time, and because of this, she began to suspect that she was the victim of an alien abduction, and repeated alien abductions at that. So it's slowly starting to come to her that something a little bit weird's going on. Now, however, despite these bizarre and frightening experiences, it wasn't until she sought the help of an alien abduction investigator, a bloke called David Jacobs, that she made the connection between the bizarre drive home in 1970 and the disturbing encounters she had been documenting for years. Jacobs agreed to help Terry attempt to recover some of these lost memories, and immediately suspected the car journey home was the key place to start. He did, though, quite rightly too, warn Terry that if she decided to delve into these seemingly repressed memories, it would change her life forever and her perspective of the world around her. Because let's face it, as humans, we assume we are top of the pyramid. If all of a sudden we're not, it would make you very, very, very insecure, wouldn't it? Or insecure, sorry. Knowing that you could be nicked at any time. It's quite a scary thought. Now, undeterred, due to the fact that, mate, you want to know the truth, undeterred due to an absolute need to get to the truth of what's been happening to her, Terry agreed to undergo several hypnotic regression sessions with Jacobs. Eventually, she was regressed to that day in 1970 when she suddenly found herself caught up in the intense thunderstorm on that lonely road. Now, in hypnosis, Terry could remember the weather had suddenly changed around her. She could also recall that the car was being pulled off the road, although she had no explanation for why this was happening, or indeed what was dragging the car in the first place. However, under hypnosis, she could now recall that she had brought the car to a stop, and when she looked out the car window, she could see a huge craft just hovering over both sides of the road. She recalled sitting in the car in shock, just watching the object. What she described as a blunt silver grey colour. Now, of more concern, she could see 6 beings that had seemingly emerged from the object heading towards her vehicle. She described these entities as grey-skinned with large heads and large black eyes, essentially, again, typical grey aliens. She recalled being stunned and bloody scared, and instinctively she got out of the car and began to run away from the entities. They're over there, she's running that way. She recalled wanting to scream in terror, but for some reason unknown to her, she couldn't do it. She physically couldn't scream. All she could recall thinking was that she just wanted to run away from them aliens. As you would, wouldn't you? So she's trying to run away, then it appeared as though she was caught in a bright light that came from the object as her surroundings changed once again. Now she found herself in a strange room with the strange entities, and she presumed she was now in the spaceship. She was told to take her clothes off, and she was embarrassed as she did so. She elaborated that she didn't want to take her clothes off, but she felt as though she was powerless to disobey the orders. They also told her to remove her jewellery, including her rhythm ring, which she also did do. So put yourself in her position. You're on a table. You don't know where it's going. There's equipment everywhere. Terry recalled that her abductors informed her that she was pregnant. However, according to what she could recall under hypnosis, these entities removed the unborn baby from her womb and replaced it with another. Now, as the regression session continued, Terry accessed more and more information about a number of unsettling abduction encounters. In fact, she became so disturbed by what she was uncovering that she began to record herself sleeping. Just in case further strange events occurred. In fact, she believed that her decision to record herself during the night hours prevented further potential abductions from taking place. Now, this is an interesting idea, isn't it? We might imagine, given how advanced these potential abductors are, that firstly they would be aware of such recording devices and would be able to disable them, and secondly we might imagine that they would be unconcerned by them anyway. Suppose there is something to the fact that recording herself sleeping did put a stop to the abduction counters. In that case, it is something that could be important in stopping other abductees. Maybe she needs to share that then. Although the abductions might have ceased following her hypnotic regression therapy, if indeed they did, Terry would still make some remarkable and frightening revelations. During the sessions themselves, for example, as well as being abducted herself, she recalled seeing all her children, all on separate occasions, being abducted. Memories she described as exceedingly traumatic. This detail of seeing her children also abducted by these mysterious entities, as dramatic as it undoubtedly was for Terry, is something that should not come as a surprise for many people who read into this. Many people who experience repeat alien abductions often discover that not only have their children been abducted, and will likely continue to be so during their adult lives, but their parents also have been victims of alien abductions. As David Jacobs states, these kind of abductions are often intergenerational. I think we should put his picture up there, right? That is David Jacobs, there you go. Now, with this in mind, Jacobs will regress Terry back to the events in America in 1970 on that dark and rainy road, in the hope that she might recall any further details. And the details she recalls adds a further twist, not only to her own encounter, but to the truth of alien abductions in general and the agenda that drives them. Now, the second regression to the quiet road in America took place around 3 years after Jacobs had first regressed Terry back to that particular event. This time, as well as the strange large-eyed grey entities, she recalled seeing a woman present. Terry recalled under hypnosis that this woman doesn't look normal, her eyes are too big, what would suggest she may be a hybrid. Terry went on to say that the woman was a hybrid and she looked strange and angry. Even more bizarre, this woman was holding what appeared to be a human baby. At this point, Terry looked down and could see that she was also holding a human baby that must have been put in her arms. Now, when she looked down and saw this baby, she said even more interesting. Terry recalled that although the baby was only around 1 or 2 months, it was wrapped in a blanket, as one would expect any baby of that age to be. When she looked at the baby's eyes, they appeared wise, certainly more aware and knowledgeable than a regular human baby. Terry elaborated further that babies, generally speaking, instinctively curl in to be held. This baby, however, didn't, instead remained rigid, self-aware and simply staring back at Terry. Now, the next thing Terry could recall, she was feeding the baby before the woman approached her to take the baby from her arms, something she remembers not wanting to do. Now, she had been told by the entities that the baby was hers, and while she didn't believe them, when the woman took the baby from her, she felt a loss that she could only describe any mother would feel if a baby was taken away from them. So, the idea of an alien human hybridisation program being at the heart of most alien abductions is something that has been voiced by several investigators and researchers, not at least David Jacobs. According to Jacobs, the overriding agenda behind these alien abductions is to create an alien human hybrid race, one that will ultimately take over the planet by the back door. I'm not sure if I believe that, to be fair. I mean, if they really, really wanted to, and let's face it, apparently they've been knocking around for thousands of years. They just slowly replace us. I don't think they're what should we say? They're going to take over the planet. I think if they are doing what they're going to do, this is just a new form of human. I don't know. We don't know why they're doing it, do we? They are certainly monitoring the planet. There is no doubt about that. Now, Terry herself would offer her own thoughts on the alleged alien human hybridisation program, stating that it upsets her when she thinks of these hybrid children, as they are the true victims. These are the true victims of an alien abduction phenomena. She elaborated that what is being bred out of them? Is it our compassion? Is it our ability to love? Is it our ability to feel remorse? Is it our ability to feel guilt? Why are they doing this? Is it to replace us? Or is it something else? Now look, what do you think? What do you think, Tinfoil Hat Fan Club? What do you think? Please drop me a line and we'll have a discussion about it. If you want to look more into this, into the hybrid side of it, look on the internet, there's plenty to find. Okay, well, this is the Tinfoil Hat Fan Club. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Thank you.